Welcome to Burn the Ship, my friend. I appreciate you coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. It does mean a lot that you're here. I know that you guys made a little bit of a trip in the middle of the day, which matters a lot. Time is important, so first and foremost, I appreciate you coming. Beyond that, this is Burn the Ship, where we introduce professionals to entrepreneurs that can help you go all in on your business, right? And we're talking to a bunch of people that are pretty much brand new to business. We want to live and learn from your challenges that we all go through as small business owners and make sure that end of the day we got the best chance to succeed, because nobody's out there holding our hand helping us start our own businesses. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your businesses and maybe a little story of how you got to where you are.
All right. Well, my name is Stephen Mullen. I go by Steve. One of my businesses, well, I have a few businesses, so I guess I would be considered a serial entrepreneur. But a lot of my businesses are partnerships, so I do them with the people that matter the most to me. I think that's a good foundation for starting, because it gives you a reason of why you can continue to keep going. So one of our businesses that we first started was a cleaning business called Clearspace Cleaning Services. And then we also have a rental car business where we partner all cars efficiently. And then lastly, we have an online clothing boutique named CP Collective. Our rental car business is called Pace as well, by the way. But yeah, so those are our three main businesses that we focus on the day-to-day.
Sure. Yeah. Tell me a story, because you don't wander into any of those three industries on accident.
No, not at all.
So tell me a little bit about your experience, like what learning you did that kind of helped you start these things, and really why.
So life really put me in each one of those situations. The first situation, I was looking for, I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. So in Cleveland, Ohio, I was working, doing like a little bit with some nightlife stuff, and also working with some financial planning things. And so in the midst of that, because of that, I was looking for a new opportunity to, make some money as like a side hustle. So I looked up a bunch of characteristics. When I started about starting a business, I looked up characteristics that were aligned with me, meaning like I'm a hard worker, integrity, different things like that. And I looked up businesses that aligned to that. And then that's how I stumbled into cleaning. But that didn't get me contracts. What got me contracts was all the different relationships we had. So I remember one time I was out to eat. And
so you started that business in Cleveland?
Yeah, we started in Cleveland. Yep. So we were out to eat. So my first contract, which really got me in it, because the idea starts in your head,
and sometimes it lives as an idea for a really long time.
So what put us into action? We were out, and my girlfriend, she actually was like, "Yo, say something to this guy," because he was talking to us about doing some nightlife stuff. I was interested, but I wasn't really like fully sold in, because I didn't know if I had one foot in, one foot out with the nightlife. But when she introduced or mentioned that topic to him about us having a cleaning business, he was like, "All right, I'm gonna give y'all a shot." And so what I did was I went home like most entrepreneurs do. Of course, at the time I was like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I could foresee and carry out every little plan and detail that you tell me that is a concern for you. And then so I went back home and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I barely even knew how to mop at the time. But I went on YouTube and I went through like all my resources that I have, people that I knew that had a cleaning business, and I just tapped in with them and was like, yo, how can we get this done? And then of course I walked in there and did my best on the first chance. And I feel like that was one of my strong suits that really helped us get through. Because I didn't come in acting like I knew everything, but I came in confident that I could be a solution to your problem. So I think that's what really got my start out there with the cleaning business.
No, that's similar to me with production.
Yeah.
That's similar. Like I played in the production world for a little bit, and then somebody came to me with a real need.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, now I really got to make sure that I got my ducks in a row and quit playing it like a game.
Yeah, for sure.
I think a lot of people probably run into that. Stuff you do on the side, and then somebody's like, well, what if I pay you enough to do it all the time?
Right.
It gets a little real.
Yeah. So I mentioned financial planning. I remember where like the change and the shift for me to like kind of start taking it serious. I was at my job, and of course, in business you have issues or things like that to go on. So when I was doing the financial planning at the time, I remember one of the contracts called me and was like, hey, we got an issue. And I literally had to figure it out, like, hey, am I going to stay here and work, or am I going to go on lunch break? And then that really propelled me into like, all right, well, if I'm going to give this my all, let's go ahead and give it a shot and, Of course, the lunch break, I decided to leave during that time, but we can all understand where that got me after that. So, taking a bet on yourself, believing in yourself, and jumping out there is really, and also being like a resource for people. I feel like that's one of our strong suits when it comes to relationship building. It's just being a resource, letting people know that, hey, if I have a problem, they can call on Steve.
Yeah, so for sure.
That's pretty much
there's value beyond what you sell.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's huge. And small business in general is you got to find a way to be valuable beyond your exact one service that you're marketing to people.
Right.
Because that's the only way that people find you valuable beyond a transactional basis.
Yeah.
So Cleveland, Ohio, we're in the midst of starting our cleaning company. When does the move to Atlanta happen?
The move to Atlanta happened in 2017. 2017, right? 2018. Okay, my bad. Sorry. 2018. The move to Atlanta happened.
So that's how many years into your?
That was like
months.
Months into it. Wow. That was like just getting started, getting contracts rolling in, like opportunities left and right, and I had a big push. Again, my girlfriend, she's really a big backbone in what we do here. So she was like, you know what, I'm out. And I'm like, we just got this going. Like, what are we doing? She was like, I mean, you never be as big as you want to be in where you're from. So bet on yourself and let's go see what we can do in Atlanta. So I was like, you know what? I like that. So that motivated me to, want to try and bet on myself because I, of course, believed in myself. But, I needed that extra push to try to go a little harder for what I believed in as well, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So you restart.
Yeah, we restart, completely restart.
All right, and just the one thing? How long does it take you to get restarted in commercial cleaning? How long does it take you to get to cars?
So
probably quicker than where you started.
Yes and no at the same time.
You knew what you're after.
Yeah, so when I came down here, I left the cleaning thing alone. So I dived straight into financial planning. So in that moment, I bet on myself again, and I was like, you know what? Let me give this financial planning thing a shot. Well, of course, at the time, obstacles come out of nowhere. So what happened was when I came down here, I was working with a financial firm, and I just wasn't feeling it. Like, I wasn't motivated. Like, I loved doing entrepreneur stuff. But, of course, when I moved out here, I was like, you know what? I got to have a solid plan. I got to make it. I can't go back where I'm from, so I got to get a real job. You know what I'm saying? That's what most people think when you have a side hustle. I mean, a business, they just look at it as a side hustle. But at the time, I was like, you know what? I got to get a real job. So I started doing that. So when I was doing that, like I said, I didn't like it. I wasn't giving myself all. I found myself sitting in my office, like scrolling on Instagram, like talking on the phone, just doing everything but what I needed to do to make myself successful at the time. And so again, betting on myself, the owner of the company called me in office. He was like, man, like, I really like you. You know what I'm saying? You got all the skills. Like, you do great. Like, when you're in front of people, like, you're really good at what you do. But the results aren't matching what I know you're capable of. So do you think this is a fit for you? So another opportunity for me to say, you know what, let me bet on myself. So I was like, I don't really think it's a fit, and I don't really see how, anything can make this change right now. So I think I want to, try to figure out something else to do. Now, this was a random, Friday. So
That's a tough thing to say. Just to speak on that part a little bit, you know how hard it is for a lot of people to quit their job?
Man.
Some people do that for years and years
I don't even
years
think,
and years,
I don't
feeling
even,
the exact same way.
Exactly.
No sort of fulfillment.
I don't even think in that moment I realized I was quitting. I think I was just speaking towards my truth, and it led to me ultimately saying I'm going to walk away from this. Because I don't think if I wasn't feeling the way I was feeling that day, or if he didn't come to me with a realistic, conversation, I probably still would have been there for at least another month or two before I got fired or something.
Yeah.
So that day, though, I was like, you know what? I just got the courage to say, you know what, I'm going to try it. And I still had business cards from my cleaning business. So that day I said, you know what? So I was getting asked around the office, like, well, what you going to do next? What's next? And so I had those business cards in my car, and I was like, you know what? I had a cleaning business when I was in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm about to get back to that. So I just literally went and learned all the little skills I had from my financial plan. I was going door to door, passing out my cars to different businesses.
That's crazy how much more you're capable of when you got that that fire that you need. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
You know how much money you could have made in financial planning with that same
attitude? I'm already knowing. I know, exactly. But it wasn't for me. So I'm a firm believer in what's for you is for you. So that wasn't my time, or that wasn't my destiny at that moment. Not to say it won't ever be, but at that time it wasn't for me. So it led me to get to what was for me.
So you started out door to door, building the business back up.
Yeah.
I'd imagine it happened pretty quickly, and I'll guess why is that you're a lot more happy.
Yeah. So again, so for me, again,
happy people that knock on doors. Make a lot of money.
I was happy, but I will say this: I was happy, but I wasn't prepared. I just had a business card. I didn't have pricing. I didn't have everything I needed. But again, I'm a firm believer that you don't have to have all the answers to start something.
100%.
So
people that are the opposite of that are the people that let stuff live in that idea stage for years.
Yeah, yeah.
Cause they're the exact people that we're talking to.
Yeah, for sure.
Is the people that feel like they need every single duck in a row to make things happen. Like I say this all the time, especially to my kids. Like my generation. And maybe the generation before ours is the last generation of doers. Yeah. Because everybody else thinks about stuff. Yeah. You know, technology and all these different, like the way that people think they're going to be make it and be billionaires is like thinking about stuff. Yeah. And so smart. But you would be mind blown at the demand for people that just do things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you get caught up in your head just thinking about it all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the
it's
hardest
a very
part.
human thing to do. You know
for sure. I mean? Yeah, but it's also the hardest part to me when it comes to starting a business. I know you asked me earlier about what it takes to start a business, and I feel like what it takes is just starting. That's the hardest part.
Just do the next thing.
Just do it. Because once you do it, the resources and the law of attraction, it'll start ideas and how to get to the next place will start to come from you just trying in the beginning.
Yeah. For sure.
I'm a firm believer in that for sure.
So people started saying yes. And then you had to figure out what to charge them.
So people were starting to not say yes. So again, I had to run into another obstacle where I could have walked away and said, you know what, I'm just gonna go back to Cleveland. So though when I was doing the door to door at the time, I still wasn't getting the yeses I was looking for. But again, speaking on relationships, my girlfriend had a relationship with a PR team, and so that PR team. Was looking for a cleaning company on this random day. Now, mind you, at this time, I hadn't told anybody that I wasn't working. I just was acting like I was getting up, going to work every day, and working for myself, honestly. But at that moment when that happened, it came right at the right time. Because I'm like, oh man, I don't know what I'm about to do. Like I've been going door to door. Yeah, like I'm about to have to go start interviewing again, knowing that's not what I want to do. But again, relationships and the opportunity came about, and I walked into a situation that was totally unexpected at that time with the Trap Music Museum. I don't even know if I want to plug that though.
That's cool. I can.
All right, cool.
That's cool.
Should I plug that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we.
Never mind.
All right. Cool. So we can rewind.
All right.
I was gonna ask that too. Are you allowed to say like?
Oh yeah, you said whatever. Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, this will never be the place where we're like fighting over sponsors so hard.
Okay.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
The other podcast is a little more particular about that.
Okay.
This one, no. You can say whatever you want.
All right, so I'll delve back. So I didn't know at the time what the contract was. I was just going off faith. I called up a friend. I was like, yo, hey, I got this opportunity. Like, what's up, man? Like, you trying to work? And he was like, for sure. So he came in, me and him, we was working. It was just us two. And we walked in, and it was a Trap Music Museum. And then the first person I saw was T.I. at that time. So I'm like, oh, man, like, this is, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm not. Is so dope. Yeah, like, I'm not like the guy that's starstruck. So I'm just like, okay, I don't know what I'm walking into, but let's do our best here. You know what I'm saying?
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I see celebrities like, and I like have this feeling like I should be more excited for something, I guess. Yeah. I just want to like keep on going about my life.
Right,
yeah.
If
Let anything, them go about their life too, you know?
Yeah, if anything, you know, of course I want to rub shoulders and get some advice. But other than that, I'm not like, oh, let's be friends. You know what I'm saying?
And if we're really having a conversation, I want to figure out how to be valuable to you too.
For sure.
You know? Like,
for sure.
I'm going to let you, I definitely am going to let you know what I'm about. If we're going to at least have the conversation.
100%.
A lot of people kind of fan out over the celebrities. I don't know why. I just never had that in me. I just don't react that way.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, they put their shoes on, their pants.
For sure.
And, you know, everything.
Well, I feel like that should be me.
Yeah, so if they can do it, I could do it. And so that gives me motivation to be like, you know what? I see what you're doing around here. How'd you do it, first of all? Mm-hmm. Second of all, what can I do to help? And then third of all, you know, let me just be a part of the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how long did it take you to get into cars?
So from there, COVID happened. So when COVID happened, based on the business model we had, I didn't feel it was appropriate to send people out into harm's way without really knowing exactly what they were working into. So again, there was a major need for cleaning. So we transitioned into the hazmat suits and disinfecting and everything like that.
Sure, this full room
spray and all that. But
it's nuts too in itself. I watched a lot of that whenever COVID. Like I have a buddy of mine that has a similar company. You may know him actually. I'll run his name by you before we get done.
Okay, cool.
But he was doing the full room sprays for like there's a big club in Atlanta that has like a big old balcony on the top of it. I wish I could remember what it was called, but they had reopened it.
Okay.
Like 2021, I think they reopened it. Maybe it's called Believe.
Maybe.
But I don't know. It's not really my scene, I guess. But they would go in there at 5 o'clock in the morning after everybody's done partying. They close it, everybody's leaving, and they will spray every inch of that place in hazmat suits.
Yeah, so we did
after
that.
All these people done gave each other COVID.
Yeah,
and come in there and kill all the COVID.
Yeah, so we did that. So I had to get select people that really was down to be a part of that because that's a commitment.
Did it change your pricing at all? You had to kind of adapt your pricing up.
Of course, that was a risk. I mean, I at the time when it first happened, that was like lose my life. So it got to be worth at least, you know what I'm saying, something to put myself and my family in harm's way a little bit, But
because you were still doing the cleaning at this point.
We had stopped the cleaning and just solely were spraying.
Just solely, but it was still you.
But it was still under my cleaning business, correct?
Yeah.
So from there, that gave me a lot of more free time. So I used my free time to study, and meaning just figuring out what was next. I feel like when the major issues happen in the world, it caused people to begin to start thinking about pivoting, having other opportunities. And so in that moment of pivot, I just studied everything about rental cars. So I'm like, that sounds cool. I watched a couple interviews, and guys were talking about it at the time. Like, this is what I do. I got cars that's sitting, and this is how I'm using them. And so it made me be like, dang, like at the time, we had multiple cars, and like one of our cars was just sitting. So I'm like, this might be a thing we could use for our household, just as a new way to introduce income. And so in that moment, I just studied, but that was another time with myself where we talked about earlier, just being in my head. I'm like, you know what, that might take time away from my cleaning business. That's what makes the money. I'm not sure if I really want to dive into that.
For sure.
So a year later.
Because your mind is like, it's splitting your mind.
Yeah, it's like splitting my mind, splitting my time.
Yeah.
And at the time, I thought it would be a good resource for my like that was like a side hustle at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
But
you don't seem like the type to half do.
Yeah, no.
You don't seem like the type to half do.
Not at all. And that required me to leverage people, which we'll talk about later once we get into the real nitty gritty of how the rental car business goes. But at that time, we just studied up. And so to answer your question, it took a year. Yeah, so like that was 2020. We sat down. 2021, 2022, 2021, 2022, we so maybe almost a year and a half, we just went back to cleaning. Once the world opened up, we started cleaning again. So that was our main focus. But
It took a year to be back to regularly scheduled program.
Yeah. So after, we were spraying, of course, but once we got done, once the world in Atlanta opened faster. So once the world opened up a little faster, we got back to our normal behavior. But because of that, I was more busy than ever because at this point, everybody's focused about cleaning, right? So what happened was I got thrown into this situation because, again, I believe that what's for you is for you. It comes to you regardless of what you do. And so, I was studying this thing for, a year and a half, but I got into a car accident, right? And so when I got into a car accident, it was, of course, time for me to get a new car. So I was getting a new car. I'm like, man, based on what we just came through, I don't feel like I want to drop down and put a bunch of money on something that what my real goal of what I wanted was at the time. So I'm like, I don't think that's a good, fair investment. So, of course, that made me start looking at other options, but I also didn't want to settle for something, that wasn't to what I felt I deserved at that moment. And so I'm like, you know what? I think since I can't get what I want, I'm gonna utilize the information that I learned before. I think I want to start a rental car business. Like, I think that'll make us some money. Like, if anything, if I'm gonna have a car that I don't want, let me make some money off of it. You know what I mean? So that's how we really dived into or jumped into it.
What'd you get that you didn't want?
I mean, I didn't get anything at the time. I was just shopping. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when I was shopping, I was looking around.
But what did you want, and what did you start with as far as your rental car business?
So it's actually funny. What I wanted was I wanted a Rolls Royce Cullinan at the time. So I mean, it didn't make sense to jump into that. Nor, at the time was I in the position to try to jump into that. But So that made me start
that's
to
an
look
expensive one.
yeah, so that made me start to look
Hard
at
though.
it's very hard. It's my favorite car on the road, but that it made me start to look into other things like Porsche and Range Rover and BMW. So our first car that we got at the time was a BMW. It was a 4 Series 2-seater, and so that was our very first car. And I negotiated that deal. It was in California. I never saw the car, never towed drove the car, like never met the sales rep or nothing like that. We just did all that over the phone. They shipped it to us like in 2 weeks from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The car buying world is crazy.
Yeah.
I will tell you this though. Lake Point is like right up the road from here.
Okay.
The marketing manager, all the events and all these expos and stuff goes to her, is a good friend of mine.
Okay.
And they just had BMW's like concept expo.
Okay.
So it's all their like 2024 and 2025 concept cars.
Right.
They rolled them into that Champion Center and let some of the Lake Point people and some of the people, I guess, that were spending money with them see all those cars.
Okay.
She showed me some pictures of them.
Fire.
BMW's about to be off the chain.
BMW is fire. BMW is actually they make Rolls Royce.
Oh yeah, for sure. But their BMW brand stuff is about to be sick.
Yeah.
I guess they do that intentionally. They
Yeah.
leave a big discrepancy between the Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
You want them to feel like a whole different family,
Yeah,
but
for sure. Yeah.
Nah, this BMW concept stuff that's about to come out is about to go crazy.
BMWs is definitely fire. It's definitely the driving experience, machine for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So tell me the numbers of the rental car business. Like I don't understand.
So
To me, it feels like buying a $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 machine, having to find opportunities to rent it out to people, like creating the whole top of the funnel of people that when they want to rent your car out, maintaining the quality of the car. Like how does the ins and outs really work? Obviously not super deep dive, but what is it about the rental car business that allows you to make money?
Yeah, so I also believe in if you got a system or something that's working, then you don't got to also always reinvent the wheel, especially when you're starting out. So I knew a lot of the information I learned was about Turo. So we utilize that platform and they do all the marketing for you. You just host your car on there or host vehicles on there.
Yeah, I had seen their commercials before. Yeah. I just didn't have any experience. So they were good for you guys.
Yeah, they were great for us. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
That was a great start for us because, like I said, all we had to do was get the cars and then put them.
Did you move away from Turo or?
Yeah, so we do a lot off Turo as well now, but we still use Turo. I mean, it's a great traffic.
So Turo leads you some business, and then some of it's like your own brand or website or whatever that may drive some traffic as well. That's dope. That's dope. What's your car fleet look like now?
So right now, personally, I got about 8 cars, and with those 8, we still partner. So like I said before, our company's name is Pace, so partner all cars efficiently. So basically, we utilize other people's vehicles. So say you might have a vehicle that's sitting that you paying this big note for, or that you're not really doing nothing with, that doesn't get driven much, but you're like, I got this, this liability that I'm not making money with. So what can I do with it? So you bring your car to me, we post it on the platform, and then we utilize, we share the profits between you guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
So that is how we got our fleet to where we could pretty much get you anything. If there's a vehicle out there that you're looking for, we pretty much.
And you probably started off with what is the average car on Turo? Is an economy basic, maybe a 4-door coupe, something like that?
So yeah, the average car, the car that makes the most money, there's 2 of them. There's a Mercedes CLA, that's the smaller Mercedes, and then there's any Honda, Ford, or anything like that. Those are one of the major money makers. But the good thing about Turo, another thing I like, they do all their market research. So you don't even necessarily have to go and figure out what's the best thing. They'll tell you, hey, based on our numbers, on averages, give you numbers of what you can expect to make, and they'll show and outline exactly which cars are performing the best.
Yeah, I guess that's a non-negotiable for them, is having that data.
Yeah.
That's crazy though.
Yeah.
I didn't know they was in depth with it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're technology companies. Who am I kidding?
Right.
2023 technology companies.
Right.
Know everything about people that buy stuff from them.
Yeah.
And then tell me about your newest venture.
So the rental car would be my newest venture. I mean, of course, we're working on a few other things, but that's not really, out there of what we're starting yet.
Okay.
But yeah, so with the rental car business, that's really our newest venture that we.
Didn't you tell me 3 things?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. So I have an online clothing boutique.
Oh, right.
So that's actually, I I do everything that, but that's really my girlfriend's. That's her business.
Really?
But yeah,
Make
we
men's
work
clothes and
together.
women's clothes?
Just women's.
Just women's.
Just
yeah.
women's.
Yeah.
Yeah. My I just got my spending report from Rocket Money the other day, and I think my wife probably spends plenty on clothes.
Yeah.
We got a new kitchen table the other day in the middle. I didn't even know.
Oh man.
Yeah. It tells you, hey, you spent like $5,000. You spent $600 on Shein. I said, no, I didn't.
Right.
Tell me how that started. That's probably getting some of that creative juices out of yourself as well, because I know that designing clothes is so dope.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Like, you get so much of your like creative passion out of designing clothes. I know, because I've seen people go through that journey before, but like I know that it takes a super creative mind that like you're kind of oozing creativity and want to get it out to start the clothing brand stuff, because I know it's not easy as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you should have her as a guest one day so she can talk about her story. But
more than welcome.
If I give you like the brief overview, she's been a big influencer when it comes to fashion and, you know, leading our culture as to what's hot and what's not right now. And so she wanted to leverage her influence. And so, you know, again, that was another situation where we started it in Cleveland, and it was originally just jackets. She designed me a fire jacket one year for my birthday, and we were out. Everybody kept being like, where you get that jacket from? Where you get that jacket from? Where you get that jacket from?
So you and women.
Yeah. So I literally was like, babe, you got to make these jackets like they want them, like they own them. And they, you know, guys will pay hundreds of dollars for a piece of clothing, you know. So I'm like, you got to get into this.
Because in my mind, it's something that I'm going to wear for 2-3 years.
Right, exactly.
Because I'll spend $200 on a piece of clothing that I feel like if I can wear it for a long period of time.
Exactly. See,
my wife
guys,
is not like that.
Yeah, guys, we don't care about the price. We just want what we want. When we make our mind up to spend the money, we want what we want, you know.
My wife wants 30.
Yeah.
Of something.
Right, yeah.
She don't even really know what.
She want everything, you know.
Yeah.
So
that's dope though, because I know that's a tough business as well. I mean, think about how many places are selling clothes.
Right, exactly.
So you really just got to be. I also stand by like, and this kind of relates back to my roots in production. I was like, you got to fall in love with the product and not really the numbers though. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, if you really fall in love with what you're creating creatively, like you'll figure out a way you'll want to tell people about it. You know what I mean? You'll organically, naturally want to let people know about what it is that you do. So if you think your stuff's dope, people will think your stuff's dope.
For sure.
And if you're really not putting your heart into it,
for sure,
you're going to be able to tell on both sides. Then you're going to be able to tell on the creative side and the number side that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. So.
Yeah, retail's hard for sure. But I mean, again, like you mentioned, it allows us to have the opportunity to be creative. Sure. It allows us to always have something fresh and new in the closet. And it keeps us up. Really, honestly, it works in all assets because she's always on top of the trends. So she knows what's going on, you know, in the world as far as trends and how things go in business, because it happens to the retail side of things first, right? So when you think about it, any aspect, whatever you're selling as, you know, retail, they experience the first increases or first, you know, things that happen based off economy. And so we kind of learn and navigate what's going on based off of kind of how things are going with the retail side of our business as well. Yeah,
you have an excellent perspective, my friend.
Yeah.
You have a very wide lens view.
Appreciate that.
Like, because that's going to be able to, like, that's what it takes you to scale. Like, I say this all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm sure these people that are listening are tired of hearing me say it, but like, when you start a business, you have to be your very best salesperson.
For sure.
And then eventually, it's like twisting the camera lens back where you just see wider and wider and other things about your business, and then you begin to understand like what you can delegate and where you can scale and where you can grow.
For sure.
You got 3 different things that you can, that are still you though, you know what I mean? Like, they're businesses, but you haven't given up your creative activity.
Correct.
Or your control to cater to a couple extra dollars a month.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, and that's what I think is really cool. That's when I feel like you can drive your business wherever you want to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I commend you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Tell me this, skills-wise, all right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the most valuable skill that you have in business? And then, you know, I'll say it like this. What did you do well at the beginning that helped you grow? Like, what was that number one skill that was helping you grow? And then at the beginning, what was the most difficult for you?
Okay.
If you could go back and give yourself a skill that you possess today or are working on today, and be fluent at that day one, what would that skill be?
All right. So I might have to ask you both questions again, but the first question, I feel like the skill that really helps me is relationships. I'm great at creating a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can tell me what your favorite shoe is, whatever that is, or which anything about yourself. You can give me
just
one
finding those
trait,
ways to connect to people.
and you'll leave here feeling like I'm your best friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's naturally. That's not like a game or gimmick or anything like that. But I feel like when I look at how other people describe me to them to people or speak about me, they all talk about the opportunity. I mean, the way that I listen, and I feel like that is really one of the best skills I have is how I listen, because I'll listen to what your problem is, and then that's the main key of figuring out how to solve it, right? Because if you're telling me a situation about, hey, you know, I got this podcast, I got X, Y, and Z issue, and I'm like, oh, I got a podcast too. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk like maybe, you know, my podcast.
Because I'm listening to you, not hearing you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm taught in certain instances. I feel like a lot of people talk more about what they got going on,
for sure,
and what they're doing, and that they try to match what you're doing with that to validate maybe them being an asset in the conversation, as opposed to me. You might leave the conversation not really knowing what I do, but you know that I could be a resource to you and for you, and you know that I'm the one to call.
But you're also using those ears to like identify opportunities to either be valuable or to speak about your service, or to put them in a position to to market and grow their service.
100%.
That's where you learned that from?
So I worked in sales.
Yeah.
So my start was sales. So,
I love that. That's as specific as you got to be.
Yeah.
Go sell something. That'll teach you a lot.
But one thing I will say about this, one thing I will say about sales is I feel like in certain sales situations, now everybody has their own sales tactic of how they believe that or how they can get across, and it has to be genuine to you, because that's the number one thing people will realize. That
you can't steal somebody's whole game and do it authentically.
No, not at all. But the one thing I will say about sales is in the process of sales, because it's such a numbers driven type of idea behind sales, people forget about the people.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like, you know, you can kind of, I mean, of course you got to think about the numbers and focus on the numbers, but if you really tap into what people like, what they need, what they care about, you'll be able to sell anything. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
One of my favorite movies, one of them is when Jordan Belfort and
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street, when he's like, sell me this pen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's not like the guy everybody's going around like, yeah, I got this pen, it's amazing. It got this technology, this thing, it's all these attributes.
And benefits.
Yeah.
And this guy asking
and then he's like,
write something down for
he's like, write something down. And he's like, oh man, I got a pen. He's like, I got one for you. You know what I'm saying? Now he's like, I gotta buy that from him. You know what I mean? So I took those type of things and try to utilize those in my day to day, on top of the different characteristics that I grew up with.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now sales is learned behavior too, and I stand on that. Like,
there
are some people that are naturally people and relationship people, and like obviously that's a huge asset.
Right.
But end of the day, sales and being able to communicate a need and a benefit to people is learned behavior. And you got to learn it from somewhere.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Because naturally, I think as humans, we barter and trade. You know what I mean? Like, I would love a world where I can provide a service and you can provide a service, and we can mutually give those things to each other where it benefits our life and helps us live how we want to live and be happy. You know what I mean? But we don't live that world. We live in a money world.
Yeah.
So then you have to be able to communicate what you can do to improve people's quality of life so that they can part with some of that stuff they work so hard to keep, which is money. You know what I mean? So sales is a crazy thing, and like I've been doing it for like 7 years, you know, and it's led me to starting a podcast, 2 podcasts, and a production company, and like working, doing all these different things. Like sales, it allows you. I'll tell you what sales does is 2 sides of it. It allows you to really test your mettle. You know what I mean? It allows you to challenge yourself in a way that you can constantly challenge yourself. And the other thing that it does is it exposes the passion that you do or do not have for a specific thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you really not believe in what you're saying when you're trying to sell your stuff to people, like people can just feel it. You know?
For sure.
Like, it's just one of those things that you can't avoid. You know?
For sure.
So what was the most difficult thing at the beginning?
The most difficult thing at the beginning for me would probably it's 2 parts, okay? because I was the risk taker, like I'm always willing to jump off the porch and just believe in myself. Because of that, since there's a time period where when believing in yourself, you also have to have a little bit of reality in that, meaning that because I believed in myself so much, I wasn't really comfortable with hearing no the way that I needed to be to really be successful in what I was going to do. You got to be better
friends with no than you are with yes.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So, when you're looking for that yes, it's easy to, like, when you constantly looking for the yes, it's easier to be discouraged or to be, you know what I'm saying, or feel like, maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. But when you fall in love with the no, you want to get as many no's out the way so you can hear that first yes.
You're like, I got another one.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, like I almost want you to tell me no.
And that one was fast.
Right, yeah. So, and then that also gives you the opportunity for me I feel like learning from lessons. Again, because I am a person that, jumps off fast. I don't like to have to, I want to do it right when we first start. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right doesn't mean perfect, but right just means that I don't want to have to backtrack and reestablish everything.
Completely take it apart.
Yeah. I want to be able to
You don't want to be fixing the bricks at the bottom when you're halfway up the wall.
Exactly. I want to be able to pick out, hey, this brick doesn't fit here, that brick doesn't fit there. And I feel like that was something that took me a little bit of time to realize because I jumped off the porch so early or so, without having, without thinking about, what I was trying to do, that it put me in situations that maybe I'm not, again, I believe in, perfect time, perfect place, but I could have been a little bit more prepared with what I was trying to do. And I feel like that came from, again, so that's why I said double-sided. So being prepared ahead of time, also too, again, there's never really a time where you're fully prepared for anything, let's be honest.
I agree. But sometimes you just got to try. So
but yeah.
But you got to bet on yourself sometimes.
Yeah, you got to bet on yourself. But I feel like when I say being prepared, just understanding what the objections will be, right? Understanding, not focusing on the objections, but understanding what they are before you walk into the room, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So for instance, if I'm coming to your podcast, I want to know an objection might be how much time we have. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking about that ahead of time beforehand so that when I run into we're getting close to the time, or whatever the conversation may be around that, I can focus back on like, I knew this would happen or could happen. And so we're already prepared for that. You know what I mean? And I think that was one of my biggest lessons, just making sure that I was prepared for the things as they happen.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that preparedness goes hand in hand. Like one thing that kind of changed my sales game is I heard a guy, I can't remember exactly when I was, but I actually think I was reading a sales book that told me this. But I can't remember. I can never remember which one it is. But this guy said, if you're going to tell me no, I want you to tell me no as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me because I was like, because the ones that really hurt me was when I really I knew I was just going to close this deal.
You counted.
This is my, I'm literally counting.
Yeah, you counting it. It's on the board before.
100%. It's my mom's friend.
Yeah, for sure. It's on the board.
Perfect fit. And then some objection comes up that's like not even a really viable objection because people are stuck in their ways or maybe they don't want to do business with you for whatever reason. And you're like, oh, now I got to take one back off the board. That's the ones that I had to learn how to be friends with, you know. And then I heard,
but even
if they're going to tell you no, let them tell you no as fast as possible.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh, wait. Exactly. Now I understand that there's value in these people letting me know no up front and not me following up with them for months and months and months. You know what I'm saying?
And so the double-sided part of that question with the no, but also being prepared comes into play because a lot of times people don't know why they're saying no to you. It might be something as simple as, your shirt was up at the time and they just 100%. Don't know why. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't really know why they're saying no to you. So you ask more questions. And so that's what I mean by being prepared. I learned how to ask more questions. And as I ask more questions, even though, again, going back to being a resource, this might not be the fit for you. But in the in the conversation, I realized, hey, you need a car to rent. You know what I mean? So I might not be able to get what I'm originally coming here to sell you on, but I feel what I learned in the beginning was how to, again, be a resource to where this conversation doesn't stop just because you told me no.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a big thing that I experience with people that try to send us referrals.
Yeah.
Is that I tell people all the time, I love referrals.
Right.
Like, I love a good, strong referral that helps me close business. Right. But I don't need you to close the business for me.
Right.
Like, if I don't like when people say, oh, I asked XYZ about your service, but they said they're with their bank.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you don't know how to overcome that objection.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I've been overcoming that objection for a better part of a decade. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So, like, I would rather have a warm lead where you tell me there's some type of thing here and let me go pitch them and try to overcome those objections rather than, steering. I try my best to educate people on that, referral wise as much as possible. It's like when people tell you no, they don't even know if they mean it.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't even heard the real spiel yet. You know what I mean?
So I like to tell people this, right? So when it comes to referrals or interview or letting people know, matter of fact, it's like a game of telephone. When you speak on something in telephone, it's automatically it's not gonna come back the way you put it out there,
For
right?
sure.
So I like to think about it like this, right? So when it comes to referrals and different things like that, actually don't tell them nothing about me.
Yeah.
Just say, this is a good guy and I think you need to meet him. I think you need to connect with
100%.
him, right? Or, hey, I don't know what he can do. I don't know what all he has ability to do. But if you talk to him, I'm sure he'll come up with some type of solution for you, right? So that opens the game for any form of conversation. You know what I mean? That takes off the pressure for the person meeting me.
Then the expectation that I'm going to find a way to be valuable.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I agree completely. Well, tell me this last part. Have you ever heard the phrase, like, burn the ship before? We use it a little bit in a crazy way.
I have, but yeah, I have.
So Hernan Cortez, right, conquistador,
Okay.
a little bit after the Christopher Columbus era,
Okay.
right? He lands in Central America with a Spanish armada of ships, and the first thing he tells everybody is burn the ships, right?
Okay.
So they take all their supplies off, they gather it up, put it on the wood line, and they literally burn the ships on the edge of the ocean. And the reason that he did that was to tell people, like, there's no going back. We're committed to this direction that we went in. We either figure it out here or we die. Maybe not with exactly the same stakes, but we draw that same illusion to business, right? It's like everybody that is serious about their business has that moment where they say, all right, I'm a business owner now. Like, I'm going to have to start cooking this up or figure out something else to do.
Sure.
You know, it's that light switch moment where people are like, all right, this is no longer a side hustle. This is my main thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that feel like is my question. Like, the audience can relate to your skills and they can relate to your story. They haven't made that decision to say, I'm going all in on my business. A lot of them, at least.
Yeah.
So tell them what it feels like and why they should do it too.
Yeah. So for me, I failed before, right? So meaning that I'm not necessarily afraid of failure because I believe every failure has a lesson in it, number one. So for me, I kind of have the it's got to work or it's got to work attitude behind it. And that, in regards to what you just described, is why, is always going forward, because there's not necessarily a plan A or plan B, right? Meaning that, no, my bad. There's not necessarily a plan B in this scenario, because it's got to work or it's got to work.
Yeah.
Meaning, because, what can you do? Even if I fail, even if I don't make it, I'm going to, again, I went through so many circumstances throughout this conversation of where this didn't work, but it led me to this. That didn't work, but it led me to this.
It's not just full scrapping ideas and starting from stage one.
Yeah, so it's like, utilizing all the different lessons, everything that you have and all the skills that you have, and just keep going. Just staying focused on the fact that it's got to work or it's got to work. And also, a guy that that I know or is like a mentor to me, he has a saying that is, all we need is 1%, right? So all I need is 1%, and I guarantee that we'll earn the other 99%.
Yeah.
And so I feel that with that mentality on top of it's gotta work, it's gonna automatically just keep the ship running, because even on the days where I feel like I don't want to keep going, number one, and another part to it is understanding your why.
Oh yeah.
Why do you do it? Who do you do it for? And what do you do? When I worked with Northwestern Mutual, Inky Johnson came in, and Inky Johnson is a motivational speaker for those who may not know, but he came in and he talked about having a reason why, because when you have a reason why, it pulls you over that brick wall, through the brick wall. You know what I'm saying? What do you do when you run into the brick wall and there's nothing else to kind of figure out or give you to play or, put you in the game of the situation? What do you do in that moment? Do you stop? Do you go back? Do you turn around? And unfortunately, life doesn't give you that opportunity to just stop or turn around. Regardless if you stop doing what you're doing, life still has to go on. So what do you do in that moment? And that's why I believe it's got to work or it's got to work, because what other options do you really have?
Yeah, for sure, especially when you put yourself in that mindset early.
Yeah.
It's like, just figure it out. And if you can't, like, we will help you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you can't figure it out, we will help you.
Yeah.
There's 300 episodes of Burning the Ship. pretty much every single one of those people will help you. And you
Exactly.
can probably find somebody in your industry.
For sure.
You know
For
what
sure.
I mean? So,
For
like,
sure.
that's really what we want this to be, is just a big network of people willing to be first.
Yeah.
People willing to bring value first
Yeah.
in a relationship. And I think we got a lot of those. And I appreciate you coming. I really do. I think
Thank y'all
your
for having me.
perspective is dope. What you're capable of, like what our generation of entrepreneurs is capable of.
Right.
I think we represent that well. So I'm looking forward to see where you go, my friend.
That's what's
Hopefully
up,
I can
man.
bring some value to that as well.
Same here.
Cool.
Anything I can do, let me know.
I appreciate it. Cool. Burn the ship.
Yep. Burn the ship.
We're done.